Alright, today we're going to walk through an example on how to factor trinomials. And in our factoring technique, the first thing I notice when I look at this problem is that it's out of your order. You want your trinomials and all polynomials written in standard form, what we call descending order, starting with the largest variable exponent first. So I start with my quadratic term in 6c to the second, and then I move to my linear term, and I'm going to call that a positive 18c, and then our constant comes last, which is 12. So now that it is in its standard form, now we can begin factoring. So first thing I see here, 6, 18, and 12, they're all divisible by 6. So I need to identify my greatest common factor first. If we don't identify it at the beginning, you can get it late, but it's really tough to identify a common factor at the very end. So I want to look for it first, and I factor out a 6. Pulling out the 6 leaves me with c to the second plus 3c plus 2. So what we have is a trinomial. So I'm going to come over here, set up and solve my big X puzzle. A times C goes up top, so I have a 2, and my linear coefficient B goes in down low, and I have 2 and 3. So now I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 2 and add to 3. In this case, I'm going to get a 2 and a 1. The 6 has got to follow my problem. It can't disappear or get lost in the shuffle. We have to keep it. So I have the 6, and now I set up the grouping. So we have c to the second plus 2c plus 1c plus 2. And now that I split it into 4 terms, I can now factor by grouping. Looking for the greatest common factor amongst each group. The greatest common factor in my first group is c, which leaves me with c plus 2. Common factor in my second group is just a 1, and I have c plus 2. And don't forget about the 6. At this point, you recognize you've got matching binomials, so your factoring technique has worked. You've been successful in factoring by grouping. So if I factor out the c plus 2, what I would have left is a c and a positive 1. And again, the 6 continues to follow the problem from the very beginning and remains right there outside. So we have an answer of 6 times the quantity of c plus 2 times the quantity of c plus 1. So there's an example of using multiple factoring techniques.